Uh, Hold on a second now. मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् सादवैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विंश नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमाभृतायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधवृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे कुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रनेत्रे येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपरिजाताय पुत्रवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे। We are studying chapter 18, the last chapter. It's the last session today for Bhagavad-gita. And this unit will get over by that. So these last verses of Bhagavad-gita are basically winding up of the subject matter. Lord Krishna is going to conclude his teachings, and then again Sanjay is going to conclude his dialogue with Dhritarashtra. So something very interesting about this last section is that when I was reading the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on it, so interestingly, I came to know that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had written a very long commentary on Sanjaya's realization on hearing Bhagavad Gita, because Sanjaya's realization is quite informative and instructive. But a mouse stole away those, you know, I don't know, it was paper or it was, of course, it should not be paper, but whatever leaves he had used or manuscript, whatever. So the mouse stole it away. And then Vishwanath Thakur thought, perhaps this is Krishna's arrangement. The world doesn't need to know all this. So then he did not write again. He did not write again. So he said he wrote Lord Ganesha interrupted in my work, maybe for some reason. And but then he said these verses are very significant, and a devotee should contemplate over these verses. Sanjaya's realization on hearing Bhagavad-gita. Okay. So we will share those verses. Yes, which verses he are those which he was talking about. Uh, Arjuna agrees to fight and victory assured by Sanjaya. This is the last section. Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrusave vachang na cha mang yobhya suyati. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, not to one who is envious of me. So Krishna is giving four reasons or four kinds of people to whom this knowledge should not be shared with. Uh, no sense control, no true devotion, unwilling to hear, and envious. Now, why is Krishna saying all this to Arjuna? Did Arjuna ask Krishna, whom should I share this knowledge with? Um, right? No, Arjuna did not. But then it is observed in all the sacred writings, the author or the speaker does mention about the qualification of who can receive this knowledge and who cannot. It's a general way of, completing a scripture. So therefore, Krishna is also giving that information or message here. Whom this knowledge can be shared with and whom should not be shared with. You know? These four people should not be shared with. No sense control, no true devotion, unwilling to hear, envious. Why this knowledge should not be shared with them? Because because since they are not willing to accept it, or they are not qualified to accept it, or they are envious of Krishna, they may commit offense, and that offense will unnecessarily take them further away from Krishna, take them away from bhakti. Therefore, this knowledge should not be shared with them. Right. However, Prabhupada in the purport will express his views, which are a Vaishnava's thinking. Krishna says, don't share. But then Prabhupada says, well, Vaishnavas are ready to even disobey Krishna because they really know what is the heart of Krishna or what is the mind of Krishna. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, not to one who is envious of me. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad-gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad-gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad-gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in the Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even if when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. See, three levels are mentioned. One is someone may be a sense gratifier. He or she cannot. But someone may say, I am not a sense gratifier. I follow the karma kanda principles and I worship demigods and I do all this. But then says, no, you have to be a devotee of Krishna. Then devotion to Krishna can be also artificially demonstrated. So it said, no, you have to be a true devotee of Krishna, engaged in Krishna conscious activities. Then you can understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he is explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad Gita for they cannot understand. There is no possibility of faithless persons understanding Bhagavad Gita and Krishna without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee. One should not try to comment on Bhagavad Gita. यद इदं परमं गुह्यं मद्भक्तेषु अभिधास्यति भक्तिं मयि परां कृत्वा माम एव इष्यति असंशयः. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. So to whom this knowledge be given? It should be given to devotees. Uh, let's read the purport here. Gunagraya Garan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Purport. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed among the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand neither Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he is and Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only, not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So in verses 68 and 69, Krishna talks about the glory of teaching Bhagavad Gita. In 70th verse, he talks about the glory of studying Bhagavad Gita. In 71st verse, he talks about the glory of hearing Bhagavad Gita. Next verse. Prabhupada used to say this verse many a times. Na chatasman manushyeshu kaschin me priyakrit tamaha bhavati bhavitana cha me tasmat anyaha priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Hmm. Adheshyate च yam imam dharmyam samvadam avayoho jnana tenaham ishtahsyam iti me matihi. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worship me by his intelligence. श्रद्धावान् अनसूयश्च शृणुयादपि यो नरः सोऽपि मुक्तः शुभान् लोकान् प्राप्नुयात् पुण्यकर्मणाम्. And one who listens with faith uh, and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Without envy of Krishna as well as without envy towards the author, without envy towards the speaker, then one becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Purport. Hello, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat. In the 67th verse of this chapter, the Lord explicitly forbade the Gita being spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is for the devotees only. But it is so happen that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in the class, not all the students are expected to be the devotees. Why do such person hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the supreme personality of Godhead. If such person hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become once free from all sinful reaction, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attain the result of righteous activities. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reactions and to become a devotee of the Lord. Generally, those who are free from sinful reaction, those who are righteous, very easily take to Krishna consciousness. The word Punya Karmanam is very significant here. The reference to the performance of great sacrifices like the Asmedha Yagya mentioned in the Vedic literature, those who are righteous in performing devotional services but who are not pure can attain the planetary system of the pole star or Dhruv Loka, where Dhruv Maharaja is presiding. He is a great devotee of the Lord and he has a special planet which is called the pole star. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hmm. कच्चिदेतत् श्रुतं पार्थ त्वयैकाग्रेण चेतसा कच्चिदज्ञानसम्मोह प्रणष्टस्ते धनञ्जय. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? So Krishna is asking Arjuna, have you heard with attentive mind? Hmm? Only if yes, Arjuna may say, yes, yes, I did. Just like any good student, if the teacher asks, did you hear? Have you heard it? And the student will say, yes, yes, yes. So that's why Krishna is saying, have you heard with attentive mind? And if Arjuna says yes, Krishna is asking him again, is your ignorance gone? Is your illusion dispelled? Are you sure? Hmm. So that is the actual benefit of getting the message of or the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Our illusion and our ignorance should be completely dispelled, but it doesn't happen. So what to do then? We should hear it again or read it again. That's what we should do. Right. That will be a wrong thing to do. Oh, I read the Bhagavad Gita. Now my illusion is gone because it doesn't go away so easily. And it will be also another wrong thing to do. Oh, I read the Bhagavad Gita. Why is my illusion not gone? Some people are like that. I have read it already. So that is also not right thing. You should read it again and again and again, many a times. Mhm. So what does Prabhupada say in the purport? Devesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad-gita in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad-gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad-gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad-gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or from his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes. Arjuna's realization after hearing Bhagavad Gita. So what does Arjuna say? Because Krishna asked him, he said, you should go on. So then Arjuna says, Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan mayachyuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Nashta moha, my illusion is gone. Smriti labdha, I have regained my memory. How? Tvat prasadan, by your mercy. Achyuta, or Supreme Lord. Why is addressing Krishna as Achyuta again? Because Krishna as a Lord has one quality from which he never falls, and that is his Bhakta Vatsalata. So he's saying, you have, out of your Vatsalya for me, shown me great mercy and given me this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, because of which my illusion is gone. My memory is back. Sthita asmi gata sandeha. My doubt is gone. I am free from doubt. I am firm now. Karishe vachanam tava. And I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt. I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Purport. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Pranam. Purport. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self-discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, the living entity becomes conditioned by material nature. But in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes liberated servant of God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He has to serve either the illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over. and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya, to trap the living entity is the proposition that he is God. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? He does not consider this. He does not consider that he does not consider. So that is the last snare of illusion. Actually, to become free from the illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he is not a servant, that he is the master of this material world, for he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the Master, who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone, and he is especially inclined to his devotee. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee, but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad-gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he understood Krishna factually. So, to study Bhagavad-gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hmm. Here Prabhupada says in the last paragraph that when Arjuna, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, understood that it is Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary population of the world, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons to fight under the order of the Supreme Lord. So, if you look at it from a different perspective, a very different perspective, when a person is put in a particular situation in life, the first thing that anyone does is to think, what is my benefit in it? How is it going to help me in any way? Is it going to give me sense gratification? Is it going to give me some religious benefit? Is it going to give me some good name and fame in the society? Is it going to help me in achieving my goals? Or is it a threat to me? Is it a danger to me? And if it is so, how can I make my position very secure and safe? Correct. In any situation in life, either you are thinking about your sense gratification or you are thinking of not getting into trouble. Either you are defending or you are exploiting. I mean, talking about material. Either defending or exploiting. Exploiting means enjoying. Only these two things happen. So here, when Arjuna is looking at the whole scenario from his personal perspective, he is thinking, what is my enjoyment in all this that's going on? And uh, why should I take the credit of killing these people whom actually I feel that they are my family members? Now, when Krishna is saying, well, I have a mission. I want to reduce the population of the world. These are all demoniac people. They are demoniac kings. And I have come here because I have a mission. What is that mission? Krishna already mentioned in chapter 11 when Arjuna asked, who are you? What do you want? And Krishna said, Kalosmi, Lokakshay Krita. Right? So, see, try to think in a very psychological manner. If someone tries to use you to get something done, which is that person's personal agenda, then you feel bad. Correct. Uh, because it will be like keeping the gun on your shoulder and shooting someone. Isn't it? So Arjuna can very clearly tell Krishna here, if that is your mission, that all these people should get killed, why use me? You do the job, no? Right. But even in that situation, to be a devotee of Krishna means to not become envious of Krishna and to still have that faith that even if supposedly Krishna is engaging me in some activity which is going to become, let's say, which is going to become a harmful thing for myself, still devotion or surrender means no, Krishna wants it, so I should do it. Isn't it? Krishna wants it, so I should do it. So you see, all the great devotees that we come to know about in Bhagavatam, Krishna put them in a situation that they had to stake their life, they had to stake their respect, their good name, their prestige, their wealth, and then come to Krishna. Here, Arjuna is taking what? Arjuna is taking, his family members will criticize him. Anyway, Duryodhana is doing that. You see, look at Arjuna, how arrogant and impudent he is. He has come to fight with his own grandfather. He has come to fight with his own guru. So there is going to be so much of criticism for Arjuna to engage in battle. But Krishna is asking Arjuna, still you should do it for me. And that is what actually shows that when you come to devotional service, you or me as an individual, we will also have to sometimes sacrifice things which are very dear to us for the pleasure of Krishna. Yesterday we celebrated Govardhan Puja. What was the enmity between Govardhan and Indra? Nothing. It was all between Krishna and Indra. There was no enmity between Govardhan and Indra. It was all between Krishna and Indra. Right? To crush the pride of Indra, whom did Krishna use? Govardhan. Right? And all the thunderbolts and the lightning and the rain shower and all that, it was suffered by whom? Govardhan, right? It was all suffered by Govardhan. In one sense, Krishna is putting Govardhan on his head. But in another sense, he's also telling Govardhan, if you want to sit on my head, you'll have to suffer. I mean, if you want the glory to be sitting on my head, you will also have to suffer for it, right? How will you have to suffer for it? Indra will, he will throw all kinds of thunderbolts and all this to you, and you'll have to stand there suffering. So this is what Krishna expects from his pure devotees or from those who want to engage in devotional service. And then that's what he's expecting from Arjuna also. And Prabhupada says, yeah, that's what a devotee is, who accepts Krishna's plan. No problem, it is Krishna's plan. And not become envious of Krishna. Why, Krishna, you're doing this to me? Right? So that's a test of devotion, and Arjuna is becoming successful here in that test. The message here is how to study Bhagavad-gita. I mean, how to get the benefit from Bhagavad-gita. Study, understand, surrender, and then act. Right? You act on that message. That is how you surrender to Krishna. And then that's how you become close to Krishna, actually, day by day. Let's go to the next verse. Sanjay Uvacha.
Hare Krishna,
Iti.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, yes. When Krishna, we are under shelter of Krishna, we feel protected. But our intelligence is materially programmed. No? We are programmed from beginning how to see what next is going to happen. Industry, it's like, for example, there's going to be a recession. There's going to be this. So we are more thinking in those terms. And during practically speaking, we cannot just leave a job or just depend on Krishna. So how do we take those material type thinking, and whether we are
Prabhu,
not spiritually
Prabhu,
correct?
the thing is, let me tell you something honestly. All that will go on. Your fight with your own mind and senses, your fight with the external world. Prabhupada has mentioned before also, because we are living in this material world, we also have to think practically. We can't just become sentimental. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will do everything for me. No, you have to have all those, uh, things going on which normal, ordinary people also do. But at the end of the day, you remain a devotee of Krishna and you do what a devotee is supposed to do, which is the sadhana and the seva and the swadhyaya. That's all. And while doing that, just keep this faith that whatever is happening in my life, whether it's ups and downs, good days, bad days, problems, financial problems, family problems, emotional problems, all that is an arrangement of the Supreme Lord for my purification. That's all. Instead of living in this self doubt, sometimes I feel so we as devotees waste too much of time in self doubt, which is what, am I a good devotee, or because I'm not a good devotee all these problems are coming in my life? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not surrendering enough. If I surrender, then these problems will not be there. But let me tell you something, Prabhu, if you surrender, more problems will be there, right? So this way of thinking is uh, wrong, because we are not understanding one thing. By some great good fortune, you have come to this process. You have gotten the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, such a great Vaishnava Acharya and his followers. Krishna gave you good intelligence that you thought of taking Diksha, you started chanting 16 rounds. And you may not be the most perfect and sincere devotee, but at least you have some sincerity. That's why you're taken up to this process. So now, whatever is happening in your life, it is Krishna's plan. I should just accept it. And whatever is happening good for me. Fine. But all this will hold true only and only if you are doing what a devotee is supposed to do, which is chanting 16 rounds, following the principles, being a devotee, Shravanam Kirtanam is going on, only prasadam you are eating, then, right? So if you are doing what a devotee is supposed to do, then whatever else is happening in life, take it as Krishna's plan. Fine. Sometimes we are thinking too much. Maybe I'm not chanting nicely. That's why all these problems are coming. Don't think like that. Even if you chant nicely, problems will come. No. So you chant whatever is your capacity of good chanting, you chant in that way. Right. And if problems are coming, if someone tells you, Prabhu, you are not a good devotee, that's why problems are coming, you tell you become a good devotee, more problems will come. So this is not a good proper way of understanding that problems means I am not a good devotee. No, problems will always be there because you are in material world and we have karma. Past karma is there. Right. All right. Thank you. Sanjay Vacha इति अहं वासुदेवस्य पार्थस्य च महात्मनः संवादम् इमम् अश्रौषम् अद्भुतं रोमहर्षणम्. Sanjay said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. So these are the 5 verses that Vishwanath Thakur wrote commentary on 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. So Sanjay is saying, the conversation is so wonderful. My hair is standing on end. Sanjaya heard it for 40 minutes and his hairs are standing on end. We have been hearing for 14 years and still the hair is not standing. So many years. He heard only for 40 minutes. We have been hearing for so long. Purport. Prajasini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. In the beginning of Bhagavad-gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between the two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhupada, in a lecture, he said something very interesting. You know, what did he say? See, somebody protested that your Krishna conscious movement makes people dull, but they have not seen the Vaishnava. There were two fights in Indian history. One was between Ram and Ravana, and one was at Kurukshetra. And the hero in both was a Vaishnava. We are going to produce such Vaishnavas, not these dull rascals sitting down. We don't want these Vaishnavas sitting down rascals. We want Arjuna or we want no one. That is a Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada Morning Walk, Los Angeles.
Prabhuji, what is sitting down?
I mean, sitting down here just means lazy, doing nothing, idling out. We say we don't want such kind of devotees or members in the iskcon movement. We want someone like Arjuna who can do something for the society, can fight. I mean, basically saying be a fighter. Being a fighter means if you are a good devotee or trying to be a devotee, you are trying to be a fighter. So don't just become a lazy, irresponsible person, devotee. You should be like Arjuna, fighting. That's what he's saying.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, last line, I think probably you meant that what you explained of this verse. It is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. What does this exactly means? Arjuna being as obedient as Arjuna towards
No,
Lord?
basically this means wherever Krishna is there and his devotee is there, they both are acting or working for a particular mission, they'll become successful. That's what Sanjay said at the end, right? Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha. So means wherever there is a combination of Bhagwan and Bhakta,
Bhakta. Okay.
there will be success in whatever efforts they make.
Mhm.
There is victory.
But doesn't
Right.
it mean a pure devotee absolutely? Just a devotee or pure bhakt? Like
Mataji, you see, please know one thing. In scripture, when any mention comes of a devotee, you should take by default, it means pure devotee.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Right? Scriptures don't talk about, 10% devotee, 20% devotee, 50. Devotee means pure devotee.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you,
Right?
Prabhuji.
That's the thing. So wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Now, one may not be a pure devotee. That doesn't mean that Krishna is not with me. Krishna is also helping someone who is not a pure devotee. However, as one becomes more and more pure, then all these things become manifested.
Ji, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next verse. व्यास प्रसादात् श्रुत्वान् एतद्गुह्यमहं परम् योगेश्वरात् कृष्णात् साक्षात् कथयतः स्वयं. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. See, the first, why Vishwanath Thakur wanted to write extensively on this verses becomes very clear, very, very clear. Because these verses tell us how a third party recipient of Bhagavad-gita gets benefited. You see, Arjuna is someone who directly heard from Krishna, and Arjuna's benefit is immense. But here we are getting an example of someone who indirectly heard from Krishna, and his benefit is also immense. And all of us are that kind of students of Bhagavad Gita. We are not directly hearing from Krishna. So what is Sanjay's attitude here? Vyasa Prasadat. He's thanking his spiritual master Vyasadev. By the mercy of Vyasa, I've heard these most confidential talks directly between the Supreme Lord and Arjuna. So this is a great quality that Sanjay is demonstrating, that be grateful, right? Be grateful. Very important. By the mercy of Vyasadev. But Uma Mataji.
And Krishna Prabhu, Dandamaprana. Purport. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya, and Sanjay admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is a transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. This is the mystery of the disciplic succession. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad-gita directly, as Arjuna heard it. There are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is the master of all yoga systems. Krishna's instruction is explicitly stated in Bhagavad-gita, surrender unto Krishna. One who does so is a topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of the 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham. Narada is a direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in the disciplic succession, and Sanjay is a direct disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay's senses were purified, and he could see and hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, all the yoga system, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga are explained. Krishna is the master of all such mysticism. It is to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay was also able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasa. The spiritual master is a representative of Vyasadeva also. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, on the birthday of the spiritual master, the disciple conducts the ceremony called Vyasa Puja. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Next verse. Rajan sangsmritya sanvadam imam adbhutam Keshavarjuna punyam Vishyami cha muhurmuhu. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. You know, in every moment, I take pleasure. Purport, Shamala Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The understanding of Bhagavad-gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna becomes righteous and he cannot forget such topics. This is the transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source directly from Krishna attains full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. Hare Krishna.
Please read this also.
Hare Krishna. Till at every moment, the understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna becomes righteous and he cannot forget such thoughts. This is the transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source directly from Krishna attains full Krishna. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. Purport 18.76.
तच्च संश्रित्य रूपमति उत्पत्तं हरे विषमे महाराजन् Ishyami cha punah punah. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Krishna, Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Gosha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Panchang Pranam. It appears that Sanjay also, by the grace of Vyas, could see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only. Yet some great devotees could see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjun and enjoyed it repeatedly. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Last verse. Yatra yogeshwaraha Krishno yatra partho dhanurdharaha tatra shir vijayo bhuti truvani tirmatir mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mistakes, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Right? Let's read the purport here. Vishwapati Mukund Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. The Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side, but after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjay told the king, "You are thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune." He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthira, because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthira. It is also predicted here that Yudhishthira, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more, because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict. He never spoke a lie during his life. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral. But the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is the supreme instruction in morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter. In the 34th verse, Manmana Bhava Bhakti, one must become a devotee of Krishna. And the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of Gita is the last word in all activity and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is the process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life or according to the different courses of religion may be a confidential path of knowledge, but although the rituals of religions are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential. And surrender unto Krishna in Krishna service in full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of the 18th chapter. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal internal potential. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes, eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal. Prabhu, can you please scroll up? The creation is affected by eternal time. It is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. In Bhagavad Gita, 5 principal subject matters have been discussed: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, the living entities at eternal time, and all kinds of activities. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. All conceptions of the Absolute Truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun, and the living entity to the sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the marginal or material energy, with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord. Because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particular particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Thus, end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad-gita in the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So this is the last purport for the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Last verse. Any questions before we also have some more discussion on these verses and the topic? Any question? One moment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
regarding hearing and reading, on the spiritual perspective, is there any differences is there?
Prabhu, as such, we know from Prabhupada's explanations and as other devotees also explained, hearing is always more beneficial than reading because you are directly getting the sound in your ears from the mouth
Okay.
of someone who is a pure devotee. But I also Prabhupada somewhere else mentioned that if you are reading the writings of a pure devotee, that is also similarly effective. So if you are reading Prabhupada purpose, its sincerity, that is also as good as hearing actually, you know. But yes, hearing is more effective, more effective.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Sada Pranam. Prabhuji, here also it's mentioned the glory of teaching, hearing, and reading. So between the three, preaching, hearing, and reading, which is the most powerful? Preaching, is it?
Of course, what does Krishna say here?
Yeah.
Because how can you preach if you are not, if you have not read it or you have not heard it or you have not studied it?
Ji, Prabhu.
So if you are going to teach, it is going to include everything, no?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
That's why in that way it's going to be more beneficial.
Yes, Prabhu. And he writes also, so no one more to. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other question?
Yes, Prabhuji, may I ask?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, when Arjuna was saying to Krishna that by your mercy, my illusion is gone. So here the mercy specifically means the knowledge that he is getting.
Yeah, the knowledge. It's not just the knowledge. You see, one thing is Krishna is standing in front of Arjuna and giving Arjuna knowledge. The other thing is how much more benefit Arjuna is getting from that association that he's getting with Krishna.
Okay,
It's not just the knowledge factor. It is everything which comes along with that. The association, the blessings, right? Krishna is not just giving knowledge to Arjuna. Krishna is also giving blessings to Arjuna that he can act upon his instructions. So here it's only not the knowledge, here it's also about empowerment,
Yes.
right? So he's empowering Arjuna. He's putting so much of faith upon Arjuna, he's giving such a big task. So all that is included, no, within the mercy of Krishna. It's not just some dry knowledge that is giving some advice, okay, you follow this, you do this. No, and more than that, Krishna with Arjuna on the chariot. He's going to support Arjuna in every single thing that Arjuna is going to do.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Even Krishna is not telling, I told you Bhagavad-gita, no, see you, fight and come. No, he's going to be there with standing with him on the chariot all time, and he's going to continue to guide him, right? All time present till the time Arjuna is going to win the battle. There are many lessons from Bhagavad Gita, like how spiritual master also plays the same role in our life. If you compare the battle of Kurukshetra as the battle with Maya, which a Jiva is fighting, so the spiritual master is not leaving you. Okay, I gave you knowledge, now you go fight. As wait and watch here. No, no. He's saying, I'm going to come with you in the battle. I'll be standing next to you. I'll be always with you. Right? Till the time you emerge victorious. So Arjuna is thanking Krishna for everything that he's getting. Of course, that knowledge is there.
For us, victorious will be to go back home, back to Godhead, right?
Yes, yes. That will be our
Okay,
to go
thank
back
you,
home,
Prabhuji.
back to orbit.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Prabhu, Sanjay also heard this conversation. So, was he liberated?
What do you think?
He was.
Why are you asking?
I'm just asking because I didn't know.
Yeah, he was liberated, no? We have heard it before. Sanjay is a pure devotee of Krishna. So if someone is a pure devotee of Krishna, that means you are liberated. So
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sadhapam. Prabhuji, I had a little doubt I've been hearing in lectures. It says that a pure devotee does not even wish to go back home to back to Godhead, and he's always interested in serving Lord Krishna anywhere he is, even if he becomes an ant or anything or a animal, anything, but he has to be around Krishna. He only was talking about service to Krishna. So if you even if you go back to Godhead, you will be serving him there also, no? So why does a pure devotee always wish that he doesn't want to go back there also to Golok Dham, and he can be anywhere, even on the material earth, material world?
Good question. So that is the highest level of pure devotion where you not only don't want any material favors from Krishna, but you also don't want any spiritual favors from Krishna. In spiritual world, if you get a chance to serve Krishna, why someone would want to go to spiritual world? Because spiritual world is a place where it is very anukul or favorable to serve Krishna, right? And of course, you are going to be more happy there because you don't have this material body, you don't have all those material problems. So one may think, right, why stay in this miserable material world anyway? So that one desire may be there. I want to get rid of all these problems. But when you are at the highest level of pure devotion, you stop thinking about your problems at all. It's okay. Problems are there, no problem. My job is to serve Krishna. But we can't imitate that stage of consciousness. That is for those who are very exalted Vaishnavas. They they they, they don't want to think about any personal self-aggrandizement, whether material or spiritual. So then it's okay. Anywhere I serve, it's fine. So that is highest level of pure devotion service.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. I had a question, Prabhuji. When we started out in the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, the acharyas have given a detailed description about Dhritarashtra's frame of mind. So at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Is there any explanation on, how Dhritarashtra reacted to all of this, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
How he reacted, we know how he reacted. He just heard it and then that's all finished, done. If he would have reacted, he would have stopped the battle, no? I mean, he would have reacted in the way it was expected. So he heard it and then, because he's not a devotee, he did not really understand. That's the point.
So sometimes, even after hearing all of this, there are going to be people like this who are not moved at all.
Why you say about people? Why not talk about ourselves?
It at least makes us think a little bit, Prabhuji, because I feel the more and
That's
more
what I am
we
saying. It makes us think, but that's how it is, To some people, it will make them think little bit. To some, it will not make them think at all. To some, it will make them think a lot more. So it all depends on our level of consciousness,
okay.
isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mm.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
I also have a question. When Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that wait one second. Yeah, the living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into classes, eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. So we are eternally conditioned, which means that is it that we are then always, we have been in contact with this material always and eternally, and there was, even when we fell down from the spiritual world, we were conditioned already before that, or we have
Eternally conditioned means since the time you are in the material world.
okay. So no one is conditioned directly when
Maybe that may also be true, but we should know that time starts getting calculated once you start your material life. Nitya. No. So therefore, eternally conditions here doesn't mean that since eternity, since the day you exist, you are conditioned. It means that because how time is calculated, there is no calculation of time outside material creation. There is time, but there is no calculation of time outside material creation. Isn't it? So eternally means once. Actually, eternally here means since the beginning, since the inception of material creation, you are a conditioned soul. That's what it means, eternal. Here, eternity can also means long, long time, since time immemorial. But eternally here doesn't mean by constitution the jiva is a conditioned soul. You getting it?
Yes.
Constitutionally conditioned soul would mean the jiva is created like that.
Yeah. No one is created completely.
No one is created in that way. The jiva's constitutional position is what? Tatastha. That's the constitutional position of jiva. Tatastha. Not created to be conditioned, not created to be liberated. Right? That is the constitutional position of jiva. But since the jiva is conditioned since long, long time, since the material creation, that's why it's called eternally conditioned.
Yeah, because also that would not be kind from Krishna to make jivas who are eternally always, or from the beginning itself, conditioned.
Yes, correct. How will that be Krishna's kindness then?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Any other question? No? All right. So here we have a good point to think about. Please read this. Sanjaya knew Dhritarashtra's mind. He had understood that the reason behind Dhritarashtra's inquiry in Bhagavad Gita 1.1 was his fear towards the outcome of the battle. So why did Sanjaya then not straight away speak verse 18.78, the final conclusive statement? We know, right? Sanjaya spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra on the 10th day of the battle of Kurukshetra, not on the first day, the 10th day. So when Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, tell me, so Sanjay could have said, why are you having all these doubts? Don't worry. I know what is going to be the outcome of this war. Arjuna and the Pandavas are going to emerge victorious. That's all. Finish. Sanjaya took the pain of relating the entire Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. So what could be the reason? Yes, one reason is because Dhritarashtra said, tell me everything. So he told everything. But what could be the other reasons of Sanjaya relating Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, was it his mercy as a pure devotee to Dhritarashtra?
Yes, it was his mercy. He wanted to give Dhritarashtra a chance, right? To hear the
And he
same
wanted,
message.
yeah,
And
and the opportunity to give him to change his mind because it still wasn't too late.
yes, and what else? That's for Dhritarashtra. What about himself? What about himself? This is something which we always get caught into. Uh, Preach Bhagavad Gita to help others, speak on Bhagavad Gita to make the world better, all that. But why not preach Bhagavad Gita for yourself? Krishna already told in Bhagavad Gita, if someone shares this message, that person becomes most dear to me. Mhm. So why we have to spread the message or share the message of Bhagavad Gita just for others' benefit? We should do that for our own benefit also. So Sanjay took a chance to relate this message to Dhritarashtra. And this is what I'll tell you something very interesting. Some people think preaching means what? Arrange a program, call 15, 20 people, sit on the chair and give a talk of 1 hour and 60 minutes or 75 minutes. That's not preaching. To be a preacher means you have to be an opportunist. Any opportunity you get to share the divine message of the Lord to anyone, whether it is on the street, whether it's to the taxi driver you are traveling in the taxi, whether it's at the airport, whether it's in the company you're working, you should use that opportunity to share the message. Did Dhritarashtra tell Sanjaya? Tell me the message of Bhagavad Gita. What did Krishna tell Arjuna? No. He was interested in the outcome of the battle. He was not interested in the message of Bhagavad Gita. His fear was what? What did Krishna tell Arjuna? No, his fear was what will happen in the battle. But Sanjaya used that opportunity to teach Bhagavad Gita. Isn't it? So that's how one should be. And the lesson is what? The lesson is be greedy to accumulate pious and spiritual credits and be compassionate. Okay, some very good lessons which I thought we should take from these verses because Vishwanath Jogi Thakur said that these are very nice verses to learn from. Uh, we are taking those lessons. But before we do those lessons, I mean, I give those lessons to you, I would ask you to do this as a personal exercise for 5 or 10 minutes. Search out in the verses and the purpose 74 to 78 the wonderful lessons one can collect on the matter of studying the Bhagavad Gita and living one's life based on it. The lessons should be exact and supported by the statements in the book and not whimsical or too far stretched. So just read the translation and the purport 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. 5 verses. You can take 10 minutes to do it. And take out lessons. What lessons are there in these 5 verses? And you should also support it from the purport, not that, oh, if I read Bhagavad Gita, you become a pure devotee. That is also true. But be exact to what is given in the purport. You can even mention where it is mentioned, which verse it is mentioned, what is the lesson. And you can do it for 10 minutes. All right. I hope the question is clear.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can start now. Okay, so you have shared the lessons. I'll just also share the lessons which I found with the verses given alongside. 74. When the real understanding of Gita unfolds in our consciousness, we'll be wonderstruck. It will be like the biggest magic moment for us. Then, next, only the followers of Vyasa, his line of thought, which is Vedanta, can truly understand the Bhagavad Gita. This is the lesson given by Vallabhidya Bhushan. You know, there are 6 philosophies, but only the followers of Vyasa they can understand Bhagavad Gita. Gita can be understood only by the mercy of both Guru and Krishna. When we tap into the mercy of the Parampara, God no longer remains a historical or distant personality for us. He becomes a part of our life, now present. We are not losing anything by hearing from a bona fide representative of Krishna. The effect is the same. One should repeatedly study and recall the message of the Gita. Living Gita will make our life thrilling, exciting, adventurous, glorious. Studying and restudying Gita will give our heart joy. Like Arjuna, we shall emerge victorious in our biggest battle, which is with ignorance and illusion. Living Gita will help us attain extraordinary results in life. And then there can be many more such lessons. Here are just a few of them given along with the verses where you find them. All right, so we stop here. Thank you all very much. And with this lesson and this session, for some of you, the Bhakti-sastri course gets over. You'll be giving exams the next week. We'll definitely have a concluding session or a farewell program for those whose Bhakti Shastra is getting over with this unit. And thank you.